Good evening and welcome back to Support Black College's virtual homecoming day 2. Coming up next, we've got a big business roundtable with a panel of successful entrepreneurs. And later, a competition show featuring Cortez Bryant, Israel Wright, and more. Now, let's give it up for your hosts, Pretty V and Darren Brand.
What's happening, everybody? Listen, welcome back to Support Black College Virtual Homecoming. I'm Darren Big Baby Brand.
And I'm your girl, Pretty V.
Hey, we're here this evening to talk about getting that bag.
Getting that bag.
Yeah.
We about to get into this big business round table talk. Okay, my head is spinning. We're talking about all this money. We about to get into this table talk with some industry execs.
Exactly. Now, before we get started, you got a pen or a pencil?
I don't got no pen, I ain't got no pencil, I got lead.
The mechanical pencil?
I got lead pencil.
Let's get started.
What's poppin', everybody, and welcome to the Support Black College's virtual HBCU homecoming. My name is Anissa Brene, and I have the awesome opportunity of leading the conversation of big business round table talk. To my left and your right, I got Corey Arvinger, Ryan Wilson, Tiara Chesmer, and Ronaldo Nehemiah sitting up here with me. So for those people out here who don't know you guys like I know you, tell the people who you are and what you do.
How y'all doing? My name is Corey Arvinger. I serve as the CEO of Support Black Colleges and the creator of the HBCU Virtual Homecoming.
My name is Ryan Wilson. I'm the CEO and co-founder of The Gathering Spot, where we are now, and the CEO of A3C.
I'm Tiara Chesmer, and I'm Regional Diversity Officer for Morgan Stanley Wealth Management.
I'm Ronaldo Nehemiah, founder of the Nehemiah Group, art creator, and private investor.
Awesome. So I'm all about purpose, timing, passion, all that good stuff. So Ryan, I gotta know, where were you when you first came in interaction with your industry?
It's funny where life takes you. So I wanted to be an attorney my entire life, and so there was never an idea of starting a business that was ever part of my plan. But I was in my apartment. I started talking to one of my college roommates about why the private club industry didn't have more places that catered to us. And so that conversation never stopped. I couldn't shake the idea, and we started building. He would come to my apartment every night, and we worked for about 2.5 years before we decided to jump in full time. And for anybody that's out there that's thinking about starting a business, when you can't shake that idea, there's a reason why that idea exists, and just pursue it. So that's what we did, and I'm grateful that we're here now 5 years later.
Yes, and just so we're clear, everybody watching, this is the gathering spot. We're here right now.
Yeah.
Super dope. Tiara.
Yeah, it's funny that you talk about, taking different directions. So I played sports my whole life, and definitely thought that I would be at some school playing sports, playing basketball, and I gave all that up because I had dreams of being a businesswoman in New York City, and I'm originally from the Midwest. So gave all of that up, gave up all my scholarships, and went to New York, wasn't accepted at any schools, went to community college, and then wrote an essay about how I gave up everything to get to New York, and graduated from NYU, and I am now that businesswoman in New York City.
Period. Ronaldo.
Hard to follow with that one, right? No, I was an athlete, like the young lady next to me, but I was blessed to be it through my whole adult life. A lot of people don't know I was an All-American track star. I played football in college, and my senior year, I just got tired of my body being beat up. And I went to Livingstone College, right above Charlotte in the CIAA, and I told my coach, Ben Coates at the time, and I was like, I'm done playing football. And I just walked away. Then it just went from there.
It's actually funny because I never wanted to have a clothing brand. I always wanted to be a business person, but clothing wasn't the way I thought I was going to go. I actually thought I was going to go to sports right as well. I wanted to commentate, and I wanted to help people build their brands, these sports teams where I felt like could use a little help. And then one day I was making some clothes for some state clubs at Howard University where I attended, and the shirts kind of got a buzz on campus, and people who weren't in these respective state clubs were like, oh, I want one of those, and I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm like, well, let me make something generally for Howard University, and so it started going crazy. I think one of the first celebrities that got a hold of it was Wale, and in DC, super popular. So it was one of those things where I'm like, okay, cool, I saw what that did, and then it kind of just turned into a business. I've always been a person who, knew how to make money. I used to sell ices for 25 cents when I was a little kid. I used to bring a duffel bag of snacks to school and sell snacks. Like, I was that kid. So I always knew I had an entrepreneurial mindset, but I didn't know that clothing was going to be the way that I went. Going to Howard University and understanding what it did for me as a person, I thought it was important to share with the world on how my HBCU made me feel. So that's kind of how the concept came about.
Let me find out, because I remember we had a conversation about it all starting in the cafeteria with the lunch lady that will really help you out.
Yeah.
Let me find out you got a food truck coming or something.
Maybe coming soon.
Absolutely. So for Ronaldo, as a creative myself, it's no easy conversation to have with parents or loved ones that you want to walk away from, your security, and that's sports for you. For me, it was when I went to school, I knew I wasn't good at math or science. So what can I do? I'm going to talk. I didn't know how to tell my mom, hey, I want to either do radio, I want to host, where's the money going to come from? I have no idea. So talk about what it was like for you to acknowledge that you wanted to do this full time.
It was very easy transition because I was already showing and proving that I was making this transition. During the summertime, my godfather, John Monopoly at the time was running, he actually managed to this day Kanye West. And so he had this company called Hustle. And so, as the guy that's on campus, I was an athlete and everybody knew me, but then the music, I started getting that music industry niche. Like that itch is like, I want to be like, John and be an A&R, be a manager and all of that stuff. And the universe kind of picks your life for yourself and people don't understand it. And as I got older, I got more in tune with understanding it. So people always used to be like, nah, man, you fly, everybody always just like the way you dress. I'm like, bro, I just put on clothes and just keep it moving. And so he had these artists and he had me go get these clothes for these artists that he signed to Hustle and all of this stuff. And I started getting checks that looked kind of crazy back when I was in college, bigger than refund checks. And I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And, I didn't know nothing about styling. I taught myself the whole business. I never interned for another stylist. I never did none of that. And so the money part was the most convincing thing to my mother. I was like, yo, listen, I'm done playing. I literally played on a Saturday and was done on Monday.
Absolutely. Tiara, so you're a double minority. And when I say that, I mean a black woman. Mm-hmm. It's already hard enough for us to get into certain rooms, especially in the current climate that we're in with the world. Talk about some of the adversities you face in your career, because we talked earlier, it's a very male-dominated field.
Yeah. So the average age, gender, ethnicity in my field of wealth management is a 50-year-old white male. So there's been plenty of adversities. Just going into boardrooms and having that opportunity and that seat at the table, I have to prove myself 12 times over. But it comes with confidence, it comes with good mentorship. Morgan Stanley and my mentors there, as well as externally, have been amazing in gearing me up and preparing me for those seats. So plenty of adversities, she's a woman, she probably doesn't know this business, she's young, and that's why I love being a diversity officer, because I get to bring the brown and black people into my business. I get to bring diversity in age, I get to bring diversity in gender, so on and so forth. So absolutely passion behind it, and I think if you have that, you'll defeat all those adversities.
And Ryan, honestly, same question for you, because a lot of people refer to Atlanta as the Black Mecca, and you have literally planted something, a business for Black people from all walks of life to come here, connect, gather, and just create. So talk about some of the adversities you faced with co-working spaces popping up.
Yeah, it was a tough journey. We had a chicken or the egg problem when we were looking at investment, where I needed a building to find investors, but I needed investors to find a building. And so for about a year, there was this dance we were doing every day, trying to figure out how to make all of these things that we needed to make, that they had to happen, but they had to happen all at the same time. And I was 23 years old, so I would walk into rooms and folks would look at us and say like, "Oh, it's you? You're the person that traded emails with me." But we continue to try to make sure that we surrounded ourselves with great advisors. We did our homework. We knew everything that you could know about the business. I mean, there was nothing that you could really ask me about that I couldn't tell you about anything that we were trying to accomplish. And I knew and started to take no as a sign of really headed in the right direction, because all of the companies and people that I respected, that was their path. They got told no, and it was oftentimes that no that was the sign that they saw a crack that no one else could see. And so I got energized by them, honestly, as crazy as it sounds. Folks would say no, and I would be like, that's great, you don't see it. And if you don't see it, that means that I'm seeing something where there's an opportunity. And we just kept pushing forward. But it was 97 times before the first person said yes. So I was very aware of the no's. But again, they were helpful at the end of the day.
And I applaud you for showing us before the trend happened that how it was versus how it's going. Because if you look at Ryan's Instagram, you'll definitely see he shows what this building was before it was this, where we're sitting in right now. So Corey, and honestly everybody, what was the moment, or have you had multiple moments, even now, where you just want to walk away and just wipe your hands with it? I think we're in a very microwave generation right now where we see followers, we see instant success. I'd rather be Thanksgiving dinner than a kid cuisine, me personally, because I prepare my meals. So talk about when you've ever wanted to just wipe your hands with it.
Pretty much every day. I mean, it's difficult because you don't know what's next. And so, you can plan all you want and have these long, drawn-out 10-year plans, but COVID happens, and then what? So everything changes. I mean, right now we would be doing a homecoming tour, and we would be at all these schools making a lot of money, talking to all these people, making new connections, and we can't do that. So it's one of those things where if you're really passionate about what you're doing, if you really love what you're doing, then even when you want to walk away, you'll just stick in there. For me, I'm fortunate enough to be able to work with my sister, my friends, other HBCU alum, every single day. We laugh, we joke, we play, but then we also work. And so it's one of those things where, I always like to look at the positive and see what have I been able to do with this business that makes me want to keep going versus what are the bad things that have been happening in the business. So, with this time in COVID, we found a way to adjust. We found a way to kind of take a different path in order to still make sure we make the money and make sure I can pay my employees, make sure I can feed my family, feed my dog, things of that nature. And now I'm, pushing forward and using those negatives as a positive to kind of push us in the right direction for the business.
Tiara?
Yeah, he said something that I said earlier as well, passion. If you don't have passion behind it, then it's not going to work. So many times I wanted to quit this job. I mean, I cover places like West Virginia, and changing the minds of folks, of ignorant people, and I say ignorant not in a bad way, just people that have no idea that there are other, ethnicities and ways to do things, and that diversity brings better business. They just have no idea what that means, and trying to convince them every day can be exhausting. So I think I keep the same sentiments where every single day I want to quit, but I keep going because of the passion behind it.
So Corey mentioned something earlier about a pandemic hits. I've seen a lot of people say, well, if your Instagram got deleted tomorrow, what you gonna do next? So I'm sure we've all been stretched in different ways during this time, but Ronaldo, how have you embodied your pivot during this season?
It's kind of crazy when I tell people this, I get that question asked a lot, because I work in the entertainment business 100%, styling almost every rapper around. COVID was a blessing to me because it actually gave me moments that I could sit down and restructure my whole business acumen to everything. And, me as a wardrobe stylist, but then also the other businesses that I have as an art curator and things like that, it gave me time to convince and sit people down and understand this is why you have to invest in these certain other things instead of depending on this, because it's like wealth. I'm a very big, adamant guy of getting young black art collectors to understand why the reason they're investing into black art. I funded my own, gallery shows myself. The city of Atlanta gave me a proclamation. I came to Ryan when it was Gathering Spot, we started moving, that we started putting the first installation of art in the Gathering Spot, because I felt that black entrepreneurs and black business people should see other ways to invest their art in, like other races do. And it just gave me a great blessing to like sit down and say, yo, listen, so now we got to make that shift. These, what we thought that we was trained our life supposed to be and what you're supposed to do, has been thrown out the window. And so, with the whole entertainment, industry shut down, I looked at a lot of my friends that are rappers and I said, now we have to go into that, we got to just get aggressive in survival mode. And so that's when the other things just start turning in my brain, and it worked out in my favor.
Love that. Ryan, we've seen the Gathering Spot on social media do a lot in your own version of a pivot, but talk about some of the cool things that have come through here over the last few months, because y'all have been active, safely active.
Safely, yeah. I mean, look, I think that the mindset that our team went into this entire time period was there's going to be a change in setting, but the mission, the why we do what we do, isn't going to change at all. And I think that you hear that with everybody here. Like we had to figure out new ways of doing it, but we created a fund. We started talking a lot about black small business and what we needed to do to make sure that everyone got to the other side of this crisis. We dove deeply into the political space and made sure that everyone was engaged in what's happening from that perspective. But I can't really call it a pivot. I mean, our business, more than anything else, has always been rooted in this idea of community. And so the setting changed for us. We had to go virtual like a lot of people, but we never really got sad or missed a step, because we always knew why we were getting up each day doing the work. And so, yeah, I mean, this is an interesting year, no doubt, but we'll get past this. This too shall pass. And I think, to Ronaldo's point, it gave me an opportunity to move from working in the business to on the business in ways that I haven't had time to do since I was in my apartment sketching what the business could be.
And what I really love about this group that I'm getting to talk to is that you all are in such different industries, but they all come together. So at this point, for each of you, do you feel like now that you're in your career, you have a responsibility to the black community to continue to be a leader, but to also breed other leaders? Corey?
Yeah, I think it's super important. I was speaking to one of my old college classes like 2 days ago, and I was explaining to them that I was once in the seat that they were in, not really knowing what I wanted to do, not having a real clear path. And, I had somebody come and talk to our class, or heard someone, and they gave advice that I get similar to what I gave. And it's kind of like one of those things where instead of being, a crab in a barrel, we reach back down and pull others up. And so that's what it's really all about. For Support Black Colleges, it's super important to me to be able to give jobs to HBCU alum, and to two of our main staff members just graduated from Spelman this year and run really important parts of our business. So it's like one of those things where I'm glad that I can do that. I'm glad that I can say that my best friend since kindergarten is trying to work with our business, doing all our financials and stuff. He did work with a bank for 4 or 5 years and moved up every year. And now I'm like, hey, I have an opportunity for you so you can work with people that look like you, speak like you, and people that you know. Then I have somebody that I can also trust with my money. So it's things like that. And then we also have a responsibility socially. My shirt says Support Black Women. I think it's super important right now and all the time to do so. We had a voting shirt. We had a Support Black Live shirt. We had a Juneteenth shirt. We try to use our platform for messaging, not only to the black community, but to everybody. And really afford the opportunity while sending messages, I think is a really good thing for us and something that we'll continue to do as we grow.
Yeah, there's so much to share on this point, but I'll just say, look, what is the point of being the only one? If that's your ambition out there, ask yourself, why would you actually want to be the person when you get to whatever that place is that you want to get to, where it's only you there? So for me, that's not a world that I want to live in. I want to be in a community where I look around and I'm able to tell stories like, I remember when that shirt came out in 2020, and like, look where the brand is now, right? We have to work with one another and be radical in that support. And it's not something that is passive. I think that we live in a time where there's a lot of, tweets and Instagram shout outs, but like, we've got to buy this stuff, right, in order for the business to grow. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's super important to me. I don't think that there's, I could see myself doing this each day if it weren't also connected to watching other people's businesses and this themselves personally grow.
I mean, obviously, it's one of my passions. It's my job. I get paid for this as well. So, but we're talking about mentors again. Someone gave me that mentorship and that opportunity to be in this role. So while I'm in this role, I take that opportunity to pay it forward each and every day. It's one of our core values at the firm. It's one of my personal core values. So internally, just giving folks that opportunity in career development to coach people up and give them the seat at the table just like I was offered, but then also externally. So working with clients like Ryan, he's actually a client of Morgan Stanley, and just getting out there. Just last night, I did a Zoom with kids ages 6 to 16. And their parents were required to be on the Zoom as well. And what we did was we just gave the basics of financial wellness, both at the parental level, but also kids. Like, we gave them a book called A Kid's Guide to Money, and just somewhere to start. And absolutely, I'm so passionate about this.
Yeah, just like what everybody said is, like Ron said, like not being, being the only one. Coming into the fashion business, especially being from the South, I never knew no other black man that was a stylist from the South. I never saw one. And still to this day, they say that I am the most accomplished one out of all because of the body of work that I have. But, living in Atlanta, it's funny because people see me, I'm very introverted. So when people see me, they be like, talk to them, they be scared, and I see somebody, I'm like, what's up? And like, man, this happened the other day. He like, man, I got a brand. I love it. I say, well, where your stuff at? He like, man, I got it right here in the car. I said, don't worry about it. I'm going to buy all of your stuff. I bought every piece of clothing in his car. And then I told him, and I said, well, listen, watch out for TV real soon because you might see it on TV. And I put it on the baby. And he called my phone. He actually was actually from Charlotte. And he was like, yo, but that was crazy. I said, I remember seeing my name in back of CD books. That's the crazy. I'm showing my age now, but it don't matter. But when I saw my name in the back of a CD book, I was like, yo, that is crazy. That's going to live forever. And so then every assistant that I ever had, I made sure that I told the record label to put their name in the back of a credit or something so they could live forever and live through life. So it's like, you have to pay it forward. And you got to be unselfish about it, man. You can't do this by yourself. I can't style everybody myself. That's just humanly impossible. So if you just really be passionate about it and understand that at one point you was that person looking at somebody else saying, I want to be there too. Yep. And then I tell people all the time, if you that selfish to try to close that door to get to the top, then your blessing's going to stop anyway. Mm-hmm. So, just like everybody else, man, just paying it forward and really being genuine about it.
So, Tiara, you were talking about mentorship. Was there a person in you all's lives who helped you get to that next phase of your career, or was there something that constantly rings in the back of your mind as like a sound piece of advice to continue propelling you to the next thing? I'll start with you.
Yeah. So I actually started my career on the institutional side. So I worked with like private equity and hedge funds. So when I transitioned to wealth management, I had to take a very large pay cut and a step down in my role. And sometimes, that's the necessary steps. You have to take a couple steps backwards to go forward. But I had a mentor at Morgan Stanley. Her name is Vanessa Henley. And she's the COO of our region. And black lady, she said, be authentically yourself and you will get wherever you need to be. And being in this diversity role, it's what I preach every single day. because diversity is about being different. It's about, being the same, but bringing out the differences in folks to create better business, to create better inclusiveness, and all of those things. So I think that's the best piece of advice that I've ever received, and I do that. There's plenty days where I'm like, oh shoot, I'm about to get fired for this. But you got to think out the box and do your thing, and that's what makes me successful in the role as well. So be authentically yourself.
Ronaldo?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot, but I'm blessed to say, like, from Shaka Zulu, Jeff Dixon, Ryan Glover, Chris Hicks, Jason Jeter, oh my God, bro, John Monopoly. It's so many. Emory Jones, Biggs, all of these guys that I could text and talk to like almost every morning. These guys that I looked up to that are just legendary, OGs in this business. But then it's just like, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here, because I could have just like, you know what, I'm going to go back to what I know, and that's back to the streets and be back in Miami just running rapid. But then it's like, you see what they're accomplishing with their legacy, and then it's like having your legacy is everything. Living your name, living forever. So when people see something, they could go back over. When my daughters grow up, they're like, yo, your last name Nehemiah, cool. Your daddy was the man. You go through this door, we're going to close this door here, because you don't need to go that way. And so my thing is that just taking the advice that they showed me, not teaching me, holding my hand, but these men showed me how to be a man and move with a standard for yourself. And that's what I take every day to, make sure that my daughters, when they get older, their name could be respected as like a king and Malcolm X and all of these young women that fathers was legends, so.
I think there's a lesson in something that you just said too, because a lot of those same gentlemen are super inspirational and have been important for us as we tried to grow the business. But they grew up together, right? So I think the thing that folks don't understand about mentorship a lot of times is that, yes, vertically meeting people that could be helpful and have accomplished things that you've done or want to do is great. But like growing up with a group of people who are all kind of doing it at the same time, there's extreme value in that. So you never know who you're working with. You never know who you're talking to. Some of the most inspirational conversations I've had are with people that you would never expect gave me the idea that they gave me. I don't even know if some of them know. I mean, I was one time in DC in a cab, and he was able to tell me so many things about the city that I didn't know in like 15 minutes. And that was mentorship, right? It was real valuable advice. So yes, like look up to and reach out to people who have done it, but also know that like the people that you're building with right now, those will be the same people in 10 and 15 years where the conversation shifts and the deals are bigger and the context is probably way different than what it is now, but those relationships matter.
So one of the dope things I think we have going on up here is we have 2 CEOs and co-founders sitting up here. And I think we're also in a time of collaborating with our peers over competition. Like you mentioned earlier, we oftentimes have the mentality of crabs in a barrel. Talk about what it's like working with a partner, because that's another form of a relationship. I see the face. I know where we're going here. Corey, I definitely want to start with you because I can only imagine, I know me personally, I don't have a business with a partner, but talk about it.
It's interesting. I mean, and I'm sure Ryan can attest to this because him and TK are so different. Me and Justin are the complete polar opposites. So, like, for instance, I may say, I want the new Yeezys and a Gucci shirt or something. And Justin will say he wants some Nike slides and a white tee from Walmart. And, like, that's how all of our conversations go. It's pretty polar opposite, but it also allows me to appreciate a different perspective because my perspective is not necessarily the mass perspective. And so he's very low-key, introverted, quiet. I'm very loud out there, loud. So it's interesting because when running a business like mine, he's more analytical, database. I'm more creative-based. So a lot of the creative you see is from me, but then he'll break down the analytics of it on how it can affect our company in a positive way. So it's definitely trying sometimes, especially when we don't see eye to eye. Then we bring in third and fourth parties to say, well, what do you all think? Anytime we come up with clothes, we're like, okay, who thinks that we should drop this, who thinks we shouldn't. And a lot of times it's me versus Justin, but it comes out to whatever the result is. I know that he has the best interest of the business, and so do I, so it ends up working out. But, I mean, it's definitely trying, and you have to make sure that you understand the person as the person outside of business first, so that you can understand why they're doing some of the things they're doing in business, and that's really important.
I mean, TK is my best friend in the world, but in this context, it doesn't really matter. I mean, we have respected the boundaries and the skill sets that each one of us brings to the business, and we hold each other accountable. I will say that there's no one that I trust more. TK, like, he could online become me if he wants to. He has every piece of information about me that there is to have. And you know, it's tough. Like, you do go through times where you disagree, but we from the beginning set rules for how we would approach those situations, and we know even as we're getting into tough moments that it's because we care deeply about the business. I've never questioned that about him, and so we can move forward and get through anything because I know that his heart is always in the right place, even if I know he's completely wrong about whatever it is that we're talking about.
So we're getting to that point in the school year for the students out there. Some people would graduate in December. They might graduate next spring. Give us some do's and don'ts for what students should do, even if they want to, you know, maybe look for a job with one of you guys. Who knows? What's a piece of advice you can drop for the students out there that are looking to get their hustle on?
I'll start. I'll say, don't look at what others in your age group or range are doing. A lot of times people get on social media and see that so-and-so is doing this and so-and-so is doing this and so-and-so is doing that, but it's not reality. It's literally social media. I feel like a lot of people are checking people's pockets and what they've accomplished based off of what they post, but everybody knows you can curate what you post. You can decide to post the good and not the negative. I know for me, a lot of times I'm looking at different brands and I'm like, oh, that's live, that's cool, they did that. And I'm like, how can I implement my business to make people have that moment to say about me? And so I think a lot of times we're in a generation where people are just watching others, and it's really kind of toxic because you have this false sense of what success looks like, and if you don't meet that false sense of success that they might not even have, then you consider yourself a failure. So I know when I got out of college, people were like, oh, I'm working at Forbes, I'm working here, and I was working as a sales associate at AT&T. And I was like, I mean, I'm gonna make the most of this opportunity. I might not be doing some of the cool things that others are doing, but now, you know, in retrospect, now I'm a CEO of a really big company, and a lot of them are working for people still. So it's like, you have your own path and your own journey, so don't look at, and it wasn't supposed to be a negative thing.
Okay.
But that's just the reality of what it is, though, because some of those same people were ones I was like, oh, I'm envious of what they have going on. And so now, you know, it's important to just kind of, you have your own path and your own journey. Don't look at what others are doing to decide what your success looks like.
Yeah, and to piggyback off what brother said, just put your head down, man, and really, I tell people when I decided I want to be a stylist, I made sure I paid respect to the OGs that came before me. Like, you know, Mike B, Groovy Lou, June Ambrose, you know what I'm saying, Misa Hilton. Like, I did my research because I didn't know nothing about styling, but I'm like, so who are the black people that did this? You know what I'm saying? Mike B and Groovy Lou, they was with Biggie. Hearing the stories when they see me, or they call my phone now to this day and say, yo, Blood, you really passing the torch and you really carrying this thing for us because they are older now. Like, show your respect, and then also, don't be afraid to go be a student all the time. I'm a student every day. You know what I'm saying? There's new brands every day. So if I see something and I'm still got to be in tune because I still style some of the youngest guys that are, when I was started, they wasn't even born yet. So you have to always just be a student, man, and never feel like you always the man, because guess what? There's somebody that's always going to run by you. So if you don't protect that and just be a student at all time, you know, you're going to have a real bad situation.
And before we continue, I got to say that's one of my favorite things about you, though, because I remember when we did the style review, and it's not just that you pay homage to the people that came before you, it's the history and it's the culture and every outfit that you put together.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Lil Duval's outfit for the Hip Hop Awards and the Wallabies and the colors and things like that.
Yeah.
I appreciated that because it let me see a time that I didn't get to experience. So that's super important. So thank you for that.
All good.
Tiara.
I would say, you know, given this time of uncertainty where the job market is very scarce, if you don't mind working for somebody, and you want to go to a big corporation or an institution like Morgan Stanley, let's say you majored in marketing, but there's no marketing jobs. Get your foot in the door at Morgan Stanley or any other company and be the best that you can be at whatever job that you have, and then take up extra projects in marketing and show that skill set, because you'd be surprised on how many different jobs there are in big companies like that. We have a whole marketing department, marketing for this event, that do cool things like that as well. So don't get stuck in that one position. Just shine through and master the job that you're in before you think about other things.
I mean, they said it. Research, like, that's a lost art. Truly research. Like, know everything about the company, who you're talking to, as much as you can learn it. And then this last part, I really think is something we don't talk about enough. You've got to be prepared for a marathon. Too many folks come in, they work 6 months, and they're like, well, I'm supposed to be senior VP now. Where's my office? And it's like all of the people's names that we've talked about today, those are journeys. Oh, that's a marathon. That was not a 1 year, 2 year thing. And it was extra projects. It was doing the stuff that no one asked you to do. So if you want to be a star, you've got to do the things that stars do, right? If you want to be Michael Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, that's 1,000 free throws every day before or after practice ends. And if that's not you, then that's okay, right? Like, be honest with yourself. But if you want to be the best, you have to go in with the attitude that no one is going to outwork me. And I don't think that most folks come with that sort of attitude each day.
In the spirit of supporting Black people, supporting Black colleges, why is it important for people to support Black colleges and not just the major colleges? No shade, that's no shade, but it's a conversation. Ronaldo.
Yeah, I gotta take that. It's because there's a lot of small Black colleges that in these small towns that people don't know about. I went to Livingstone College in Salisbury, North Carolina. Actually, it was the first college to ever had a football game. And so they're in the CIAA, and when I went, I didn't know about Salisbury. My situation led me to get there. And it was only maybe 2,000 students. You know what I'm saying? And I looked around and I'm like, so what am I going to do in life coming from this small school? When I went there, they didn't even have a rubber track. They had dirt. You know what I'm saying? And, that gave me my ambition to want to start changing that cycle of kids not knowing that you could come from a small school like Livingstone, but you didn't go to A&T, you didn't go to Howard, and all due love and respect to those schools because we all brothers and sisters. But you got these small schools that they don't see their alumni on billboards or doing things around the world. And I'm blessed that there is social media, because now people that go to Livingstone now can see that this is a guy that is doing things in the industry for real, that he lives in Atlanta, that he travels around the world and he's doing things, and they can see it. Because a lot of people get lost hope. And I know that a lot of people that goes to historically Black colleges, they don't even leave the town where they go to school in after they graduate. They get confined and they get content because that real world start kicking in. And if you don't see hope, you die. That's what I tell people. So, I tell people all the time, man, it's like, show every Black college together. That's why I love what Chris Paul was doing when he wore Livingstone in the game in the bubble. I was like, that's cool as fuck. Because Chris is from Winston-Salem, so he understands that cycle. But support every Black college as if there was a lead of all of them, because every kid has a dream. Every kid wants to be that guy. And we just can't pick and choose what school, because that's a lot of things in our culture that we do. We pick and choose what we want to endorse. Let's endorse everything and not be trendy with it.
And just to add on to that, I think that's a super important part with our brand being called Support Black Colleges. It's super important. I'm always super intentional with our social media to not only highlight Howard, FAMU, A&T, Spelman, Morehouse, because that's the first things that people see. But like the Livingstones, like the Wilberforces, like the West Virginia State University, Tuscaloosa, there's so many that produce these amazing people that you may have not even known went to HBCUs. Pretty V, like she went to a small black college, like Tahir, he went to Harris Stowe University and is a big comedian. Like, it's so many different people that have been coming from these small HBCUs that are making big time moves and really known in their respective industries. He spoke to the Chris Paul thing. We were super fortunate to be a part of that. Like, we were going over what school he should do and how he should educate people about those schools. So when he wore a pair of shoes and a shirt, he also gave information on when the school was founded, who are some notable alumni, like things of that nature, using a big voice like Chris Paul to talk about the smaller schools so people can see that the impact that they have on this world is just as big as the Howards and the Morehouses and things of that nature. So it's super important for our brand. We're trying to make it a statement to continue to support those smaller schools. We're doing something right now where we're highlighting every single HBCU from top to bottom and making sure that we just really show and give them a platform to be heard on.
And the bottom line is be a student of the game, and also in the words of my big brother, who some of you all may know, Keenan Johnson, pack your patience, because it's a marathon. And also for the students out there who are looking for those jobs, don't say no to the opportunity because there might not be pay in it. An opportunity is still an opportunity. Like Ryan said in the taxi, that's a mentorship opportunity. The more you show your genuine side to somebody, the more likely you'll be put in rooms you may have never even imagined. I say this now, Corey, thank you for wearing your shirt, because women do need support. Black people need support. Tiara, thank you for pioneering diversity in your job, in your career. And Ryan, you were my first interview. I don't think I've told you that, but he gave me my first interview, 4 years ago, and to date, that is probably my biggest viewed interview, right after the Gathering spot opened. So who knew we'd be here now? But it's just those little things that will propel you forward. You just never know where your blessing is coming from. Thank you guys so much, Corey Arvinger, Ryan Wilson, Tiara Chesmer, and Ronaldo Nehemiah, for just taking the time to share your gems with us. We appreciate it. And last but not least, if you're out there and you hear my voice, please get out to the polls and vote. We cannot stress that enough. Make sure that even if you can't vote, you are advocating change in your community. You're talking to your local and state leaders, all that good stuff. Please just make sure you vote. The time is now. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning in to the Big Business Roundtable. My name is Anissa Brene, and you are tuned in to Support Black College's virtual HBCU homecoming. Peace.
This is one of the most monumental elections of our lifetime.
Now, more than ever, is the time to go out and vote and use your voice and your power.
You see what's going on in office. You see what happened with COVID. It is important to get one of our very own in office now.
So go and check your polling places and vote early if you can. If not, make sure you vote on November 3rd.
There is no excuse not to vote. There are many resources out for everyone to vote. If you need more assistance, go to www.supportblackcolleges.org.
And don't forget to vote like your life depends on it.
What's going on, HBCU family? Things are really heating up. We got a group of young entrepreneurs who got a chance to make their dream come true. Next up, Support Black Colleges. Pitch, please.
What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Anissa Brene, and welcome to Support Black Colleges Presents Pitch Please. This show is all about up-and-coming entrepreneurs getting the opportunity to present their company to business owners and industry leaders in hopes of gaining an investment. Here to make some dreams come true are our wonderful judges. Jim Walker, Global Sports and Entertainment Director from Morgan Stanley. Tiara Arvinger, COO of Support Black Colleges. Cortez Bryant, the co-CEO of the Blueprint Group. And Israel Wright of The Exclusive Experience. After we review all of the pitches, each judge will pick one company to put into the hot seat for a lightning round via Zoom. All right, judges, let's get into your investment options. You can choose to invest $2,500 or more. You can also choose to invest your time in mentoring the entrepreneur, or you can come in as a silent investor in the company. Let's get into these pitches. Up first, we have a group of young minds who created an app that connects students to HBCU recruiters. This is HBCU Hub.
I am HBCU Hub.
I am HBCU Hub.
I am HBCU Hub.
I am HBCU Hub. Hello, my name is Jonathan Swindell, lead developer at HBCU Hub. We are a collective of current and former college students looking to help students into college. Our mission is to build technology that closes the opportunity gap, and we built an app that does just that.
All right, judges, let's hear your thoughts. Jim.
What a powerful app. I went to an HBCU, and to watch, I wish I had that app available back then. There are a couple things I'd like to find a little bit more information on, but they brought it home.
Awesome.
I love the concept. Shout out to the SBC hoodie in the video. I think it's a great idea. One of the things we hear about most at SBC is that people didn't know HBCUs were an option for them. So this is a great way for people to pinpoint their majors, see what they want to do. I'd be curious to see how the app actually works, what the interface looks like, how user-friendly it is. So yeah, but I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, and it's on Apple and Android, so it's user-friendly. We love that.
Even better.
Okay. Up next, we have a couple who's looking to rebuild their community of Pelham, Georgia. This is Anderson Properties.
Hi, I'm Chris Anderson.
And I am Ashley Anderson.
And we are starting a project called Anderson Properties.
We will go into a low-income town and rebuild old homes while helping our renters become homeowners by building their credit. Attached, you will see our charter, which has our program plan, objectives, our known risks, and our potential investors. Thank you.
All right, judges, let's hear these thoughts. Israel.
I think it's a great idea. I love how they are trying to give back through building people's credit, which is really important, and then also giving them an opportunity to be a homeowner, which is also really important. So I think they got a great idea. I just would like to get a little bit more.
Yeah, one time for ownership. Tiara.
I agree. I think it's a great idea to allow people to stay in their communities. A lot of times when they rebuild in that community, those people can't stay.
Yes.
And that's incredibly important to me. I would love to see it packaged better. Presentation is everything, so if they can nail that, they wouldn't have an issue.
Yeah, and Cortez?
I think it solves a big problem, so it's definitely a great thing that they're doing. You know, financial literacy is definitely a problem in our community, so for them going back and educating the community about credit and the things to do can build equity not only for them as homeowners, you know, but once you own your home, hopefully they'll take that valued information and be able to become entrepreneurs and use lines of credit against their homes and maybe start small businesses. So it's a great start for something that could grow into something larger.
Absolutely. You guys ready to get into some more pitches?
Let's go.
Let's do it. Okay, let's do this. Up next, we have a tech company looking to transition students into the workforce. This is Graduate.
Hi, my name is Bryce Johnson.
My name is Charles Nemo.
My name is Cody Bossi.
And today we're going to be telling you about Graduate. Graduate is an online platform that connects graduates to careers. A few years ago, we were recent college graduates and we struggled transitioning into the postgraduate workforce. This is also an area where a lot of our friends and colleagues have struggled. This could be a cause of a lot of problems, whether it's university career services departments or just truly not knowing exactly what you want to do after graduation. So we created an online AI recommendation engine that helps you find jobs that are more meaningful to you. On top of that, we also provide automated sourcing for recruiters and different tools that involve ranked job posts to help students find jobs that are more meaningful and fit them. We call this a candidate environment fit. Currently, we do have companies who are interested in using Graduate, and we've been able to interview over 100 students, and they've all come up with the same problem. They need help changing career services departments so that they can feel more prepared as they continue to graduate and move into the job force. So thank you so much, and we look forward to hearing from you.
All right, judges, thoughts, critiques? Graduate, what you think? Jim?
I think this concept is exactly what we need. I think that's exactly what was missing with a lot of us who've graduated HBCUs and all colleges. I looked at some of the data in terms of them, the amount of students who are not finding jobs after they graduate. I think this is a home run if they get it all together. I'd really like to get a little more information in terms of what their competition is and how they plan on rolling this all the way out smoothly.
Absolutely. Cortez?
Yeah, to piggyback off what Jim said, definitely a need for our community. I think that I would want to know, because there are other platforms that kind of like LinkedIn's of the world that supposed to service, have these services. I want to know their marketing strategy and what they're going to do to separate themselves outside of the pack, and see the platform to see, what's going to make their platform successful. Also, I think that it should be targeted pre-graduation, for grads, and have these type of experiential jobs, internships before that, so once they graduate, they could be set up.
Yeah. Israel, you look like you want to go there.
Yeah, no, I agree with both of them. I think it's a great idea. I have several people that I know have graduated with master's degrees and every other degree under the sun, but they're misplaced and displaced when it comes to finding the right career. So it's really unfortunate to see it happen so often. But if these guys can figure out how to actually put together some strategy and structure behind it, I think it can be a great, great idea.
Absolutely. Sure. Tiara, do you want to? Okay.
I'm curious, kind of similar to what Cortez was saying about how they plan to market this. One of the things mentions unbiased screening, so how they're marketing that is going to play a huge role if the employer does feel like this is an unbiased screening. Yeah. If they set it up a certain way, it kind of tells you who might be on there. So that could propose some issues, especially in the Black community. Sometimes we don't feel comfortable saying who we really are when we are applying for jobs. So I'd be curious to see how they plan to market this.
Yeah, well, thank you for your feedback. I remember what it was like trying to get a job after college. Do y'all remember? Yeah. Okay. All right, you ready for the next pitch?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Up next, we have Gnaw Media, a company created by creatives, empowering creatives.
Hello, my name is Clark Williams, and I'm the co-founder of Gnaw Media, an online networking platform for underrepresented creatives to connect and for companies to source diverse talent. As a Howard student, I looked the network gap that exists in creative industries directly in the face. Gnaw Media answers this by creating an accessible network of diverse creative talent. Creatives are able to create profiles on the platform where they self-identify and upload samples of their work. They're then able to network and find professional opportunities in their industry. Our three main revenue streams are premium subscription, company sponsorships, and retainer fees on direct hires. We want more than to be the first creative social network of its kind, but to be a community and space where we learn how to empower communities by empowering creatives together.
I don't know about you, but I like that. Okay? Give me your thoughts, your critiques. Tiara, I'll start with you.
Yeah, this was by far my favorite presentation so far. I'm a very visual person, and they showed me two things. I want to see what the app will look like and how they make their money. And they showed us both, and those are important to me.
And what do we like to say? It's the presentation for me.
It's the presentation. That's what it's all about. So I love that they gave us a glimpse of what it's going to look like when we get on there. I have the same critique, I guess, or question as before. As creatives, sometimes that's part of what holds us back is who we are, what we look like, the color of our skin. Right. So I'm curious as to how that may play a role in people getting booked for things, with the companies that they partner with.
Absolutely. Israel.
Agreed. If I'm not mistaken, it kind of gives me like Fiverr vibes. That type of thing, but I love it. I like the niche. I like it in itself, just really giving creatives an opportunity to be able to, be centrally hubbed somewhere for people to be able to give them like credible work, because that's a big problem with creatives. They can get too creative and they forget about the business. Yes. So you want to make sure you can, put them in place so they can actually, earn their worth.
I feel attacked, Israel. I feel attacked. I feel like you're coming for me.
If you don't mind if I piggyback off of something you said, I like the idea of a hub, because we compete with Instagram nowadays, and I can be a trained dancer, but I lose a job to a person who posted one video to one song one day.
I know where you're going.
And so if we're all here and you're looking for someone with experience and not just with a one-hit wonder type of situation, this would be a place to go. So yeah, absolutely.
Jim.
I love what they've done here, and I got to go with what my judges are talking about in terms of how the detail is put into this. Streamline for me is critical, and how we make this money. You got my attention when they show me all of that. So they've got some pieces here. They've got to, smooth it out a little bit, but they got some nice stuff to work with to get started.
Absolutely. I love that they put money in purple,
Me
money.
too.
We're going to make something. Cortez.
Good idea. There's other platforms that exist that do the same things. My interest would be how they're going to separate themselves from the rest.
Good question. All right, moving on. All right, judges, last but not least, we have one more pitch for you. Up next, we have a plant-based hair care line catered to young boys. This is Young King Hair Care.
Hi, I'm Cora Miller, co-founder and CEO of Young King Hair Care, a clean, plant-based, natural hair care line intentionally crafted for multicultural boys. There are currently no national retail hair brands in the market that offer products intentionally created for multicultural boys. But even beyond this, what Young King represents is bigger than hair care. It's about celebrating and acknowledging boys who look like my son and how they show up in the world each and every day and what that means for them. So if you believe multicultural boys deserve quality products tailored for their needs, please join us on the journey of redefining male grooming by focusing on the next generation. We are Young King Hair Care.
Okay, I would be wrong if I didn't start with Israel, my good king hair spa expertise.
Yeah, so that is my specialty, men's grooming. That's what I focus on. That's my my business.
Yes.
I've actually come across this brand before on an Instagram ad, but also they reached out to me previously to do a partnership. So I definitely can connect with them. I love the fact that there are no hair care product lines for young black men or multicultural boys. Also, when I think about margins, I know products, you have great margins on it, so that's a pretty good margin right there. Also, I guess my questions would be what kind of tools or additional products could they add on to it to make this more valuable? I think they could do a lot of bundle sets and stuff like that, whether it's the sponge, whether it's brushes, combs, just different stuff like that. And then I feel like if they had some type of influencer program that they created for young men or young boys that might be young celebrities or people that are coming up, I think it would do really well and get a lot of good online attention. So that's just my feedback and thoughts.
I mean, we love hair care. Tiara.
One of my concerns is that the packaging, for a split second, I thought it was a product that I already have. It looks very similar to things I've seen before. I'd be curious to see what ideas they have to really set themselves apart. I'm not sure what the need is in this area strictly for something so niche, not just boys, but specifically multicultural boys.
Right.
I see some of the same ingredients that my stuff uses, so I would like to see how they can truly set themselves apart, because I literally for a split second thought, like, do I have that? But I'm obviously not a multicultural boy, so I don't. Don't let the short hair fool you. But that's something that I would have a concern about.
Absolutely. Cortez.
I want to see if the effects of it, does it really work? Because I got some crazy hair that's hard to train.
Come on, young man.
And I'm not a young boy anymore, but it's been hard for me. So I got weird hair, like straight, thick, like it never does right. So I'll be interested to see, the effectiveness of it, and I think that'll be very effective in their marketing to show, not only showing that they're the only ones doing this, but that this really works, and here's the proof of concept.
Yeah. And Jim?
I think the line should be a little more broad. I think they're kind of painting themselves in a box. They need to get bigger. I mean, like Cortez, we're older. We got our hair that we want to work with, the little bit that I got left, but I want to see what's going on with that as well. So I'd like to see them broaden their horizons a little bit in terms of what their product market is.
Awesome. Great advice. Great critiques. Thanks, guys. All right, judges, now is your time to deliberate. You all are going to pick your top 3 businesses that are going to go into the lightning round. Are you ready?
We are.
Their fate is in your hands. Let's go.
HBCU Hub is the one that I chose. I think that they really have their act together. I'd like to see them in the lightning round with a few questions that we have for them. My co-judges.
Yes.
I'm going to do Young King Hair Care. Give them a try, see what they're talking about, and maybe I want to be a part.
I definitely have some questions for Anderson Properties. I'm hoping that the presentation and what they actually got going on is, a little different.
I'm going to roll with Jim. I like to see HBCU Hub also.
Perfect. All right, judges, their fate is in your hands. Let's get them on the line. All right, judges, the time is now. Right here behind me, we have Cora from Young King Hair Care. Cora, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Perfect. So we don't know you like we should, so I want to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you.
Yes, so my name is Cora Miller. I am the co-founder and CEO of Young King Hair Care. My husband and I, we launched this company in December 2019, and we are a plant-based natural hair care line intentionally crafted for multicultural boys. Really, we started this company inspired by our son to create the first line for Black and brown boys.
Cora, it's so nice to meet you. Right in front of me, I have one of our wonderful judges. Well, we actually got 4, but I got one of them for you. This is Israel Wright. He is the CEO and founder of the Exclusive Experience. Israel, I'm going to toss it to you. Ask Cora.
How you doing, Cora?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am great. I've definitely come across your brand before. On Instagram, I've seen one of your paid ads, so you're doing great on there. Just a couple questions, because I think that you have a really good concept and idea. But I'm just thinking about, I guess, in the future, how you want to expand and go to the next level with this product, and then any type of partnerships or collaborations that you have, maybe that you're looking to also expand and kind of create another point of difference.
So in terms of kind of our products and our roadmap, really, we started in hair care, multicultural textured hair care, because we saw the white space and the great opportunity that existed there. We know that space is just ripe for innovation, because all that currently exists in the market is female-dominated products, female-marketed, female-scented. So we were very intentional to start with hair care, but we also see just a great opportunity to expand into personal care. There are not hardly any brands out there that really speak to multicultural boys in terms of body, in terms of face, in terms of skin. And when you think about it just in general, even beyond just speaking to kind of Black and brown boys, really the last great innovation for boys was Axe, and that's a pretty old company. So we think there's an opportunity to create really tailored offerings for Black and brown boys to help them along their grooming journey, starting at a young age, all the way until they get to that first shave when they think they're too grown and too old to be focused on kind of kid and teen products. In terms of partnerships, we definitely have leveraged partnerships with mom and dad influencers, bloggers, in order to really leverage their communities to help build brand awareness for what we're trying to do and build. But as we continue to grow and scale, we certainly think there's great opportunities to partner with other brands. If you think about like your Bevels of the world or your Scotch Porters, where they're really speaking to kind of adult Black males, we can be the kind of the focus where we're speaking to the younger males, and then help them as they grow along to start to use the Bevel and Scotch Porter products of the world.
Yes. How are you guys manufacturing your products right now, and what has been your distribution model so far?
Yep, so right now we partner with a manufacturing company in the Midwest, in the Chicago area. They help us from product development all the way to production to sourcing materials, all of that. So they're kind of our one-stop shop. We actually are onboarding a second manufacturing partner, because if anything, what COVID has taught us is that supply chain can be such a wreck when you're dealing with a pandemic and all the unknowns and unexpected that can come your way. So we are working with a second manufacturing partner to ensure that we have backup and continue to be able to support us from a production standpoint. Right now for 2020, we are currently DTC. So we only sell via our website online. But we are really excited that we will be launching into retail at the top of the year. So we have 2 national retail partnerships that will kick off in January 2021.
What are those?
They're really national big ones. Sorry, I can't share just yet. But you could probably take a guess.
I just want to jump in. What is your marketing strategy, and what have you done to gain traction to date?
Yeah, so our original marketing strategy was really built on doing a lot of in-person and pop-up events. So we were really going to do a lot of those and do industry events. We actually launched at the Target Essence Holiday Festival in December 2019 and had plans to do other events throughout the first part of the year, but COVID kind of changed our marketing strategy. And so we quickly pivoted once we realized all of our events that we had plan were canceled to really focus on digital marketing and advertising. So now we leverage paid social, we do paid search, and really leveraging those channels to kind of drive awareness and traction for the brand. And it actually has been really successful to date. Another piece of our strategy is, again, going back to those partnerships with influencers, with mom and dad influencers, again, utilizing their channels to really promote and advertise our brand as well.
Awesome. How y'all feeling? Good? Cora, how you feeling?
Great.
Before we let you go, do you have any closing statements? Do you have any questions?
No, I'm excited for the opportunity to be here and really share our vision for Young King Hair Care. You know, for me, it's all about celebrating and elevating Black and brown boys. So that's what our brand is built on. We are a mission-driven brand, and we will continue to highlight our Black boys and make sure that they're not perceived as a threat, and people understand and respect them, and that they have the self-confidence and tools they need to grow into their crowns.
Wonderful. Well, kudos to you. Thank you so much, Cora. We will follow up with you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, what's up? I'm Anissa, HBCU Hub, correct?
Yes, Jonathan with HBCU Hub.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, we're so happy to have you. Briefly introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you.
So I'm Jonathan Swindell. I'm a native of Los Angeles, California. Always been interested in technology. When I was 14 years old, I actually turned my PC into a Mac. And then my dad said he was never going to buy me a computer again, and he stayed true to that promise all the way up till college. I attended college at Grambling State University, and there I majored in computer information systems.
So before we get into our questions and critiques, I want to briefly introduce you to our judges. In front of us, I have Jim Walker, the Global Sports and Entertainment Director for Morgan Stanley, Israel Wright of The Exclusive Experience, Tiara Arvinger, COO of Support Black Colleges, and Cortez Bryant, the co-CEO of the Blueprint Group. Jim.
Thank you. I have a couple questions. What is the business model of the company, and who is the ultimate payer of the product?
So our business model is focused on developing digital products. We want to create a central data source for HBCUs to recruit from, and ultimately the payer of the product is the different HBCUs across the country. So it's higher education institutions. That's who our primary target is.
What has been their traction to date?
In regards to hits within the database?
Yes.
We have over 11,000 students in the database right now, and that's a number that's growing constantly because students use our app on a daily basis.
What is your forecast for the business 6 months out, 1 year out, 18 months out?
We could go with 6 months out. I would say that we would probably be around 20,000 within our database, and 12 months out, we would start the process of implementing our hardware again. Before COVID-19 hit, we have digital products, but we were also getting into the process of implementing hardware stations across the country in different high schools. So 12 months out, we would start that process again as high schools and the economy opens back up.
So in some of the highlights that you'll be able to help students find internships. What does that look like, and how does the app do that?
So the app right now is focused on helping prospective students get into Black colleges, but at the core, we are a data management company. And one of the ways we look to help that is in the future, start partnering with corporations and helping them use our database the same way that schools use it to find new students. Corporations could use it to find new interns. So that's something that we do have planned down the line as we expand.
Gotcha.
Hi, that's a nice hoodie you got on there. Where'd you get that from?
From you guys' website. Always got support.
Awesome. So you said that, did I hear correct that you're from Los Angeles originally?
Yes.
Okay, so I know that there aren't any HBCUs on the West Coast, specifically in that area. I'm just curious briefly about your background, how you found out about Grambling State University. Tell me just a little bit about that.
So I was actually headed to Tulsa University out in Oklahoma. I was headed there on a D1 scholarship, and then I blew my knee out 2 weeks before my first game as a senior. And my dad said, hey, if you lose your scholarships, you're headed to Grambling, because my dad went to Grambling. So being a legacy child, I wouldn't have to pay out-of-state fees. I did end up losing my scholarship, and I was like a blessing in disguise, because going to Grambling was really one of the best decisions I could have ever made.
That's awesome.
How would you describe the competitive environment, and what is your competitive advantage, and how do you win as a business?
So I would say our competitive environment is pretty steep depending on the category that we look at. If we're looking at the category of data vendors within higher education, we have to go up against people such as Campus Lab, College Board, which is the biggest big data vendor of higher education. But what makes us different is how we're collecting the data that we're collecting, and what we're doing with that data. So an example of that is even College Board, the big multi-million-dollar conglomerate that they are, they haven't started collecting social media information on incoming students. And right now, that doesn't seem like a big thing, but 2-3 years down the line, that's something that's going to be very important. And it's small niches such as that separate us from the competition. In regards to our biggest direct competitor, which would be the Common Black College Act, they're looking to approach a similar problem, but in a different way. We're looking at it to approach it from a research standpoint, whereas we don't charge the entries to our database. We're solely focused on creating a central data source for HBCUs to recruit from, and then from there, looking to monetize it. So our app is completely free. Part of that is because our mission is to build technology that closes the opportunity gap, and we're research-based. We focus a lot on the research and the data management. We believe that you can't build a central data source for an industry if you're charging the people that are entering that database.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, judges, we've made it to our final participant for the afternoon. Are we still good? Test. Wonderful.
Awesome.
All right, up next we have Ashley from Anderson Properties. Hey, Ashley, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. It sounds like you have some company with you.
Yes.
And that's just fine. Shout out to baby girl. Hey. So tell us a little bit about you and a little bit about your business.
So I am a mother of two. And me and my husband started a company called Anderson Properties, and we are going into a small town, rebuilding homes that are abandoned. No one lives there anymore. Just so that we can give those community people an opportunity to purchase a home and become a homeowner.
Nice, awesome. So I'm gonna pass it over to Tiara Arvinger. She is the COO of Support Black Colleges. She has a few questions for you. Tiara.
Okay.
Hi, Ashley. I wanted to first ask about some of the risks and how you plan to get over these hurdles if given aid by one of our judges here.
So I know one of the risks that I stated was not knowing whether or not the house has more damage than it seems to have. So I have spoken with some consultants who are willing to go into the home with me before purchasing it so that they can tell me exactly what am I getting myself into before I buy the home and if it is even salvageable.
Okay. And then secondly, how do you go about determining who is eligible for one of these homes? What's the process like for choosing the families?
The process would be like a basic rental property project application. They will all have to go through an application process. We would need to know if they even have the idea of wanting to become a homeowner so that we can help them financially by establishing their credit, building their credit, and getting negative items removed off of their credit. So once they go to purchase the home, it benefits them so that they won't have a high mortgage rate and they can't live in an actual home that is there.
I just wanted to know, I know you spoke about the credit repair part of it. Like,
yes.
As a requirement, would you have to have the normal renting, like credit score, or would it be okay if you had a lower credit score and then you get in a program or something like that? How does that work?
Well, I would look at different angles depending on their credit score and what, may be the red flags on it. And if I think that they are willing to even join a credit program, all of these things will come into the application process so that we can know if they are really serious about becoming a homeowner, building their credit up, and having a future for their kids in the community.
My question, Ms. Anderson, is in terms of rebuilding or rehabbing homes, have you and your husband had any experience doing it yourselves already?
Well, my aunt currently has 3 homes in the neighborhood that we are planning to go in and rebuild other homes. So we have worked with her on those 3, but she doesn't resell them. She just rents them out. And me and her have partnered up so that we can get other homes so that we can rebuild and potentially sell.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ashley. We appreciate you giving us a little bit of your time. Are there any final questions or comments you'd like to leave us with before we let you go?
No, I thank y'all for allowing me to pitch my idea.
Perfect. Anytime.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll circle back with you later. Judges, we made it. Can we get a little stretch? Can we get a little something? Okay.
We need it.
Yes. So we're at my favorite part of the show. We're talking investment. We're talking what you're about to offer these people. I told y'all you had options in the beginning. So can I find out where you are on the spectrum? Jim.
I knew you would start with me.
You're my favorite. Come on, Jim.
I've been looking at the HBCU hub. I think that they've done an incredible job of putting together an app. I think that's something that could change a number of people. I think a lot of these ideas that were shown today were great. I'm looking for the one that has more, punch and could affect more people. That's where I'm at.
Love that. Tiara?
I have to agree with Jim. I think we saw great things from everybody. It's always great to see people of color doing it big, doing something for themselves. I like it, what HBCU Hub has going on. I think that we have something to offer that would be beneficial to them. And that's always what I look for. How can I be a service to you? So I like what they have going on. I'm a big beauty person, so I love to see the Young King hairline company as well. So got some things I would probably like to ask them further. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with what we saw today.
I can totally see a little HBCU hub on SBC. You never know.
We gonna see. A little product placement never hurt nobody.
You never know. Israel.
Yeah, like everybody's been saying, I completely agree. These have been some great business ideas and concepts. I hope that all of them do come to fruition, no matter if they're able to get the initial investment today or just somebody finds value in it in the future. I still am interested in the Young King hair care. I do see the niche. I do see some different things, and it seems like they already have a couple things moving on a national scale. So that's definitely piquing my interest, and I'd probably like to talk to them a little bit more.
Awesome. And Cortez?
Oh boy. Well, I think all the ideas are great. As far as investment, I think a lot of the companies, I saw gaps in actually all 3 of the companies that I would like to see filled. The HBCU Hub, it's an incredible idea. And if it was just about me doing the right thing and just want to invest into the HBC community, it would be a no-brainer. If I was trying to make money though, I didn't see how, they were going to produce money for an investor to get their return, right? As of Anderson Properties, I believe in real estate. I own properties around the country. I just want to see, digging deeper with the neighborhood and the cost of the housing, really getting to the numbers with it. But real estate is probably one of the most sure investments you can have. So I'm definitely, if anyone, I'll lean that way. And finally, for the hair care line, well, the niche was good. It's a clear lane. But when she didn't tell me her distribution chain, that kind of like turned me off, because I'm like, if you're gonna ask me for my money, you got to tell me how I'm gonna make my money back.
Help me help you.
That's real. That's real.
You can't say, oh yeah, I want your money, but I can't tell you where I'm gonna go get your money back.
Right.
So that kind of, she had to, I don't know if it's an NDA, that I would have to sign to go down that lane. But before I was to invest $1, I would have to know a distribution plan to get the money back.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's valid.
All great feedback. I can't wait to see what you guys do with these wonderful companies in the future.
The other thing I'd like to say is I think I speak for all the judges here. If they don't get our support financially, these are great ideas, young people really thriving. Don't throw your idea out. Keep trying. I mean, it doesn't mean if they don't get through with us, they won't get through with somebody else.
And there it is. Go ahead and drop the mic one time for him, Jim.
I'm going to leave it up to this.
Thank you so much to our judges for investing their time into the companies that you just saw. We're going to jump into some questions from our HBCU audience for you guys. All right, so one of our questions is, what are some of the biggest mistakes new entrepreneurs make coming into their entrepreneurial journey? Yisrael.
I feel like they aren't trusting the process enough and understanding it takes time to get to where you're trying to get. Even if you see other people growing fast and you feel like your success will come sooner than it needs to, you need to really trust the process and enjoy the experience for what it really is.
Yeah, absolutely. Cortez?
I think the biggest thing I see is research. I get a lot of investment opportunities, and what I see the most is people who haven't really researched the marketplace thoroughly to know about their competitive edge that will help them maximize on their companies and their ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Tiara and Jim, I got a question for you. Nope, not that one. I know you want to get to it, but I got another one for you. I know. I had to get you hot and ready. You know what I'm saying? I had to get you ready. So, what's a piece of advice you can give an aspiring entrepreneur out there who wants to just get in? I know they just said it to be a student to the game, but now that we're in the game, what's a piece that you can give them that maybe somebody gave you along your way? Tiara, I'll start with you.
I think one of the best pieces of advice I've ever been given is have a tunnel vision. Don't be worried about what anybody else is doing. There could be somebody with your same product or same vision, you feel like, and they don't have something that you have. So if you focus solely on what it is that you want to do, how you want to do it, and only worry about that, it helps quiet a lot of the voices that make you feel like you can't do something. So if you keep that tunnel vision, it keeps you from being as easily distracted, and it helps you just kind of stay the course and do you.
Yeah, you just said something that made me think. A goal without aim is senseless.
That's it.
There it is. Jim?
I think, and Cortez kind of sprung this for me, so I'm still going to answer that way. Being able to tell their story of the business and the why, I think that's critical. And part of what excites investors or people who, is if you're so busy in the day-to-day of trying to do the business, you're not in marketing the business, because that's as hard as doing the business. You got to be able to market this great tool that you have. I think that's critical.
Thank you so much, judges, for your contributions. We had the opportunity to check in with the participants after the show. Let's check in on their reactions.
Hi, I'm Cora Miller, co-founder and CEO of Young King Hair Care. I would like to thank Support Black Colleges with providing us the platform to really showcase our business and brand, and for Wright for his investment of time to really help us grow and expand Young King Hair Care and reach even more Black and brown boys across the globe. Thank you so much.
Hi, this is Ashley Anderson with Anderson Properties, and we first like to thank Support Black Colleges for giving us a platform to spotlight our company. We'd also like to thank Cortez Bryant for investing his time to help us grow our company. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Swindell, former Grambling student and lead developer at HBCU Hub, the world's first app that connects high school students to admissions recruiters at different HBCUs. We want to give a huge thank you to Support Black Colleges for giving us this platform to showcase and put a spotlight on our company. We also want to thank Jim Walker from Morgan Stanley and Tiara Arvinger from Support Black Colleges for investing your time, effort, and resources to the growth of our organization. Our mission is to build technology that closes the opportunity gap, and we're super, super thankful and grateful to be changing the world with you all together.
Huge thank you to our judges. I'm Anissa Bernay, and thank you for tuning in to Support Black Colleges Presents Pitch Please. Until next time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Jim Jam. Come back up.
Okay, come back.
Man, thank y'all for tuning in. This is very important. Tomorrow, you're gonna get an exclusive look at Slutty Vegan's new location.
Ooh, slutty!
Huh? Slut me.
It's the vegan for me.
I don't know what it is, but I eat 2 of them.
Tomorrow, y'all, the sports segment with my babe.
Yo, who?
My babe.
Primetime is a grown man.
I know, but Deion Sanders and Chris Paul. Tomorrow is up. Let's get into it.
Know your worth, King.